Welcome back. We are at Jubilee RV this afternoon on a beautiful spring-like day. Sun is shining. It's a great day to be thinking about the camping season coming up, of course. We have Bob Davies joining us, the parts manager here at Jubilee, and Richard Pereira, who is the service manager. Great to see you guys.
Hey, good to be back.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
And you know what, days like this, like we said, when it's this beautiful out, you start thinking about that trailer season ahead, camping, getting out to the lake. But in order to do that and make sure that you're going to have a great season ahead, you got to summarize your trailer and you got to do it well. Yeah. So what are some of the key things people should be doing?
Well, maybe for starters, we'll have Richard say some of the things that people need to do from a safety aspect, okay? And then the rest is sort of detailing, cleaning, general maintenance and stuff like that.
So safety first, Richard.
Safety first. Well, number one, I would suggest to everyone at the beginning of the season, replace all the batteries in your smoke detector, your LP detector, or not your LP detector, no, your CO detector. You're going to want to take it to a reputable dealer and have the LP system checked for leaks. Make sure that you're not going to have any kind of issues there. And then from there, tires, safety. You want to make sure there's no cracking and things on the sidewalls.
Winters can be harsh, right? And especially if your trailer's been sitting out for the last 5 months, sitting on snow, sitting with a blanket of snow over the top of it. You want to make sure there's no leaks and that everything is good that way as well.
Definitely. One of the biggest ones that people kind of neglect is the roof of their trailers. They don't get up there and wash it every year and treat it with different products to help prevent UV, disintegration of the roof material. A lot of them are made out of rubber, and like any rubber compound or any product, it does sun bleaches it out, deteriorates it, and eventually cause damage. And roofs are very expensive to repair and replace. So there are things that people can use. As an example, if you want, there are specifically roof cleaners and then roof conditioners. They're very easy to apply. You simply, with the cleaner, spray it on, and then using a mop or a sponge, simply wash it around, rinsing it off in a bucket, not washing it over the side of your trailer, because then that'll prevent you getting all the dirt and grime running down the side of your trailer. All right, and then when you're done with that, simply put a conditioner on there, and for lack of better terms, it's like Armor All. It's going to give a protective shine and help seal up everything in your trailer. Those two are good products.
Amazing how a couple of hours of work, and yes, it can be a little labor intensive, but you absolutely have to do this if you want to ensure the life of your trailer. Otherwise, it's going to wear down on you.
Definitely. One of the things, though, that you want to do after you've prepped your trailer's roof and cleaned it and conditioned and everything else is go around and take a look to ensure all the seals, all the silicone type seals are all up there. Dicor is a product that's used extensively for a rubber roof. It's a self-leveling product, so when you apply it, it'll want to puddle down and smoothen out, and you're really not wanting to seal the entire roof. If it's in pretty good condition, you just simply want to go around and touch up the existing areas that maybe look a little suspect, areas of concern, especially around skylights, vents, that type of thing. So that's a really good product that you're going to want to use. When it gets down to things like windows and that type of thing, we like a product here called ProFlex. We like it because it actually stays flexible, where standard silicones will dry out and crack around and just simply not last very long. This will stay flexible, a lot longer. You can get it in white or black or almond color, so another really good product. When you get to that point I was saying of washing the grime down, there's a product, it's a black streak remover on the side of fiberglass. You'll start seeing some black lines run down the side.
Inevitably, this always happens every year. If you have any trees around you or there's any dust buildup and then it rains, it's coming down.
This is the product you want to use, because a lot of times this simple soap and water will not get it off. So you have to use something that is specific for that problem. So black streak remover is another one. Then, of course, once you've done all the cleaning on the outside, maybe you want to consider polishing the unit and doing a proper wash and stuff like that. When it comes to washes, though, try to stay away from any household type detergents. A lot of times they contain a solvent in there, and then that'll actually damage the decal graphics on the side, because it'll soften the glue behind the decal and then cause the decal to eventually start to curl back and give you some problems with that. So these are a couple products here. So you've got a lot of money tied up, so why not look after it?
You got to take care of your investment.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So.
Richard, if you were to sort of name one thing that the average trailer owner sort of forgets to do or just chooses not to, that ends up coming in here and costing them money, What would it be?
Well, the number one enemy to all RVs is water penetration. So you want to make sure you check all of the sealant around all of the openings. Anywhere that water can get into the unit, you want to make sure that you use a good sealant like Bob had suggested there. Roof, number one, that's the number one point where water is going to get in, so you want to check around each opening, make sure that the sealant's good, touch it up as necessary. If it's not something you feel comfortable with, it's always something you can bring in, and we can do that for you.
Absolutely. Any other tips and tricks, Bob Davies?
I think we're all good. It's just important to look after your investment. So like your car, you're going to do an oil change, you're going to wash it every now and then. Same thing with your trailer. Just do a little general maintenance and save yourself a ton of aggravation and problems later on.
Absolutely. Fantastic, you guys. Well, I appreciate you getting us into the spirit of the
Yeah,
RV
yeah.
season. Won't be long now. Of course, it's the end of March, and people are going to be hitting the road with their RVs pretty quickly.
Yeah, it won't be very long, that's for
No.
sure, if the weather keeps going.
I know.
I hope so.
I know. Bob and Richard, thank you very much for being here.
You're very welcome.
All right,
All
thanks
right,
very much.
you're very welcome. If you have any questions about your RV, you think you have a little issue as we approach the warmer weather, you certainly shouldn't be afraid to bring it in. Jubilee RV, of course, more than happy to help you out. The information is on the screen. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life.
Welcome back to Midday. We're down at Jubilee RV this afternoon, and it's definitely that time of the year. It's the end of April. RV season is getting underway. Joining me today, of course, we have the parts manager, Bob Davies, joining us, and we're talking today, Bob, about solar lighting.
Solar panels.
Solar panels, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So is this becoming quite popular?
It is very popular. It's a fairly inexpensive and green way of charging your batteries. One of the biggest thing, though, that we get from people is, what does solar run? Well, solar really doesn't run anything. Solar is simply nothing more than a method to charge your batteries. You can do that with a generator. Noisy. Who wants to listen to a generator at a nice quiet campsite, right? Nobody. Solar then becomes the alternative. Once you've paid for the solar, really it's free after that. There's no maintenance to it or anything else. The traditional way of solar, though, was the big roof mount. These are a hard mount up on the roof. Wiring runs down through your refrigerator vent, and then eventually we tie it back directly to your batteries. The only unfortunate part of them is that if the sun moves or you're somewhat parked in the shade, you can't move your trailer to find the sun, right? So they came out with an alternative, and that's this one right here. This is a portable unit. It collapses up and it folds all the way up, so it becomes a nice compact system. And it has little feet on the back, if you want to see. So then you can angle the solar panel in order to help maximize the view of the sun.
And you can
Okay?
point it in the direction of the sun
And
without
you-
having to change around the direction of your trailer or something.
Exactly. And the other part of it, it comes with about 50 feet of cable. So once you've plugged the cable in, which is right here, once you plug the cable in, all you're simply doing is clipping it to your batteries. So that makes it nice and easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long does it take to regenerate a battery?
Depending on the sun,
Yeah.
this one here will put upwards of 8 amps per hour charge rate back to your batteries. So if you have a battery with 80 amps and you've consumed it, you're going to figure you need 10 solid hours of sunlight in order to put back what you've used.
Right. So
okay?
if you start at the beginning of the day, you'd probably get most of that underway.
Yeah, generally what happens is you're using the bulk of your power at nighttime, running lights and maybe some more hot water through your, your hot water tank and that type of deal. And then theoretically the next day, nice and sunny, you're going to put all that charge back into place. So
Tell me this, if it's not a sunny day out and it's cloudy, do you still get some charge out of this?
minimal.
Minimal. So you
Minimal.
got to have good weather.
You have to have
Okay.
good weather, okay? But there are some things, though, that you can do to help minimize the amount of power that you're taking out of your batteries. One of those, keeping with green, is going with new LED lighting. All right, so these little lights are going to replace your existing light bulb. You can run probably 15 of these lights for every one incandescent bulb that you have in your trailer.
I've never seen these before. They're a
Yeah,
very
they're-
different look.
Yeah. Now you don't have to change the fixture. Where in the past you didn't have a lot of replacement light bulbs, so then you had to change the whole fixture in your trailer in order to get the benefits of LED, but now you don't have to. You can just simply take the bulb out of your existing fixture and just change it out. put a new light bulb. They tell us though that it's going to be about 25 to 30,000 continuous hours of running.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So they're expensive because they're usually up around 14, 15 bucks a bulb, but the trade-off, minimal amount of power and longevity, you know.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to warrant one back to me in
Yeah.
25, 30,000 hours of continuous operation, that's about 30 years. So if you want to come back to me in 30 years and warrant it, I may or may not be here. So
You may be dealing with somebody else. That's okay. That's all good.
Okay, so going back to the question, what does solar run? Solar doesn't run anything, it simply charges your battery. So now we've got two methods, which is really you could use a generator like these here, which then become quite noisy, and you know, you're looking at maintenance and fuel and just a simple weight of putting it into your vehicle, out of your vehicle, you know, just that type of deal. Or solar. But once you've got your batteries charged though, people want to then say, what can I run now? And we go back to, if you want to run, say, an AC, like a normal household TV, Blu-ray player, you want to charge your cell phone or do any of that, that's what then becomes an inverter. And what we're doing there is we're taking that battery power and we're changing it from DC current over to AC current. That is pretty much what you get out of a normal wall socket in your house. Okay, and there's two types of those. There's modified sine wave or pure sine wave. Pure sine wave is pretty much identical, that comes out of your household sockets. Modified is a bit of a crude form of that. And that type of wave, as it's called, can actually cause static on flat screen TVs. It can be a little hard on the electronics of cell phones and computers because they're quite finicky on power. They like nice, clean sources of power. So pure sine, you got to remember, you know, to use that. This is a nice size, 600 watt. It'll run any TV, DVD player, Blu-ray, computer, whatever. But for those who have a CPAP breathing machine, those have become, you know, a lot more now these days. These are capable of being able to run those. So.
And how much juice do you get out of that?
600 watt. So divide that by the 100 by 12 volt, and that'll tell you how many amps. And usually that's what it's rated at, watts or amps. Okay. And that you can get right off the back of your appliance. It'll tell you exactly how much power it needs to run. So these are in a fairly inexpensive way. 600 watt, you're looking about $275 to $300. Then you can go all the way up to the custom built-in systems, and for that you're $2,500, right, even upwards of $3,000. Okay. But every outlet in your RV is wired up, powered all the time. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
This has been a segment all about power.
Power.
Staying
exactly.
powered up. It's important.
Yeah.
You don't want to run out of power out on your camping trip, right?
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
And you keep promising us sunny weather.
I know.
So
I actually never
solar.
promise, for the record.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, as we go into May pretty quickly here, I think that we're going to see some beautiful sunshine.
Yeah, I hope soon. So yeah, like I say, the big thing is running LED lights, solar power. It's a nice green way of doing things, and that's important.
It absolutely is. That's the way of the world now. Yeah. Bob, thank you for showing us around all the different options here today.
No problem, anytime.
Fantastic. If you have any questions, you can certainly check them out online, and they are located on the Halston Connector right next to Tim Hortons. We're going to take a quick break, and Midday will return in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my
Welcome back to Midday. We're at Jubilee RV this afternoon. May long weekend has just passed, and it's the crazy time right now here at Jubilee RV. But Bob Davies making some time for us today. It's great to have you back on.
It's always great to be on, yeah. The May long weekend, hopefully, has been good for everybody. Hopefully the weather was good for the entire weekend. Yeah, so there's a few items, though, if you'd like, we can show you today. Probably back in the day in your grandparents' era, these were typically the roof fans and the roof vents that you'd find. They're just simply a standard crank up, no frill. You just pray that there's a little bit of air movement outside to get some relief inside the trailer.
Yeah.
All right. From that, these are still used too in a lot of cases. Then kind of from there, they moved on to a powered fan. But as you can see, it's just got a small little blade in there, makes a ton of noise, and you'll still see these sometimes used in bathrooms, and they only exhaust air out, okay? Again, you may get some relief.
A little bit of relief, but a fan, tell me this is something you just don't want to have break down on you in the hot weather.
Exactly.
And so it pays to find something that you're going to like that's going to work for you.
That's right, exactly. And the reason I'm actually not bringing up air conditioning is because you would need a power source for that at a full service RV park, where a lot of people who like to go dry camping relying on battery power only, they even still need to get a little relief from the summer heat and everything else, and especially at nighttime when everybody's in there. So you can still buy those ones, but they kind of moved along from those. And here's the new style, though, of the fans. They are a real big multi-blade fan. Oops, kind of hard to see. Maybe here, I'll help if I hold it this way for it. Multi-blade fan. They'll actually move 900 cubic feet of air a minute. That's that's a lot of air. That's turning a 10-foot trailer over every minute of air inside.
Okay.
So
the difference between this one and that one is huge, right? It's just one step up, but a huge difference.
Huge difference, yeah. These ones here will actually draw air in as well as exhaust air out. Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah, and these ones here now also come with a thermostat that you can wall mount. And then that way there you can control the temperature, but there is some cases where the ceiling in some of the newer RVs is so high, you can't reach them to manually open them. So you have to have a remote, and everybody likes remotes. You have to have
as long as you don't lose it or the child puts it, one of the children puts it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
but it won't operate your TV.
There you go. That's true.
There you go. Kind of from that point, what they've done is they've come out with these ones here now. It's all integrated into one, so you can have this open when you're driving, because the airflow, of course, is going to be coming up over the top, you know, not going to be banging on these lids, which sometimes can be a problem. You'll see those lids broken, and that's because people have left them open when driving, you know, and they're all replaceable, but this is the new style. These ones, too, you can have it open when it's raining as well. You can have this one open when it's raining, because of course the air is coming up from underneath, so which makes it pretty nice. You know, they also move 900 cubic feet of air per minute. Very quiet. That multi-blade fan, instead of chopping a lot of air, thereby making a lot of noise, there's a bunch of blades just moving a lot more air. Makes them just that much quieter. They draw very little power, maybe about 1 or 2 amps. To give you an example, that would be like having a light on for the amount of power that's being drawn.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so you can run these. They're thermostatically controlled too, so if you want, you can kind of preset them with a temperature. The trick is on these, you'd want to maybe have one over your sleeping area, then open up a vent somewhere towards the rear of the RV, and then kind of get that nice convection of air. So you're at nighttime, you're drawing in the nice cool air, venting it all out through the back of the trailer at the farthest point anyways, and just let it run like that on a low speed. Really helps you out. Keeps you nice and cool.
Excellent.
Now, if you're going to be using these type of vents where the lids open up, maybe you still want to have it so that you can have it open when it's pouring rain, or maybe you want to have it open when you're driving down the road, then you can circulate some air, you know, through your trailer. And that's where these kind of vent lids start coming into effect. These would just mount right over top of the manual vents. They're hinged too, so then it allows you to get in there if you want to clean it and stuff like that. They're a great idea. And then they have kind of the beginnings of those ones, and that's that one there. Same thing, this would just mount right over top of your existing vent, and you can have it open when it's raining. You can also have it open when you're driving, because the airflow, of course, is coming up like that. Very easily attached with L brackets that go to the actual side flange of the vent, so nothing's being bolted to the roof.
Excellent.
Don't want to create holes in your roof.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So
now we're going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
We've been talking all about fans and how important they are to stay cool, but obviously when the sun goes down, you want to stay warm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the fire pits are all about. We bring in a fire pit from a company called Portafire. We buy them through a distributor, but it's actually locally made in Quesnel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a big local shop or local buyer, wherever possible. These ones are really nice. They're 63,000 BTU, and what that really means is probably twice as powerful as what your furnace is in your RV. So it kicks off a lot of heat. If you were to turn that on to full, it would probably put about a 4 or 5 foot flame. It's happened here by accident. They didn't realize it, and they turned it up full, lit it, and it just shot up
So
about
don't
4
put
feet.
it on in your RV either. Keep
Yeah,
this
yeah.
outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Set it out on a couple of brick or something like
Yeah.
that. You know, and it throws off a lot of heat. They fit right to a conventional 20-pound or 30-pound propane tank. 10 feet of hose, so it's nice, you know, away from there.
Inevitably, every summer there's a fire ban. So
You
something
bet.
like this is always useful. There's always somebody that has one, so why not get one for yourself this year, right?
Yeah. And they sell out very quick.
I bet.
The moment the
Yeah.
fire ban is even hinted
I
at,
bet.
they sell out. So I put this one out here this morning, and we've had already 2 people come in and inquire about it and pricing, and are already starting to think about
That's
it.
good.
Another thing I like about these ones is that instead of using the artificial log or the kind of, it's called vermiculite, that's the white little pebbles they put in, they use a lava rock. So, which makes this nice is that after a few years of use, they start getting dirty and looks kind of worn out. Throw these away, go to a landscaping company and go buy another bag of lava rock, put them in there. It's
brand new.
Brand new, spray this with that high heat sort of barbecue black spray
Sure.
paint, and basically it turns it into brand new again.
Fantastic. Good
Yeah.
things to be thinking about at this time of the year, Bob.
And then of course it has this lid, and that lid screws down and locks into place, keeping everything all nicely self-contained.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great little things we're showing off today here,
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah. So other than that, that's about what we've got for you today.
That's awesome. From fans to fireplaces,
Fans
right?
to fireplaces,
It's,
exactly.
Today is brought to you by the letter F,
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
but only the good words.
Only the good ones, yeah, exactly.
Thank you for having us
No
here
problem.
today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If you have any questions, certainly you can give them a call here at Jubilee RV. The information on the screen, you can look them up on the internet as well, of course. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Well, you only need the light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hate the road when you're missing home.
Welcome back to Midday. We are down at Jubilee RV this afternoon with the parts manager, Bob Davies. Bob, it's great to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're discussing hitches, and it turns out there's quite a few options when it
There's
comes to
quite-
hitches. You can see the table in front of me. Huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes today kind of just explaining a few of them, and then kind of looking at some other types in order to make your ride a little more stable, a little safer and stuff. Okay. A lot of smaller SUVs, they may have a factory hitch installed, but generally speaking, they're quite small and will only accept a very small ball mount like this, 1.25 inches. If you have one of these, your vehicle's really only going to be restricted to about 350 pounds, maybe upwards of a ton weight, and about 3,500 pounds of actual total towing weight. So that's the cargo and the utility trailer, everything else that's in there, okay? So when you see that, yeah, you can tow, but just make sure you understand the weight limits of it.
Right.
Because what I've seen in the past is where people have taken this and turn around and installed one of these adapters into it, and then turn around and attempt to tow way beyond the capacity of their vehicle, okay? Again, these things are still weight limited to whatever the vehicle's rated at. And generally speaking, on that size, 350 pound load for the tongue, about 3,000 to 3,500 pounds for the actual total weight of the trailer, okay?
Okay, so if you don't want to limit yourself, you want to go a little bigger.
Little bigger,
Okay.
which then gets into what they're referred to as a class 3 and going into class 4 trailer hitches, all right? This is typically a standard 2-inch by 2-inch, and they call these actually a ball mount, and that's simply because the trailer ball mounts onto this. This goes into the receiver hitch, which is attached to your vehicle, okay? These, because they're hollow, are actually weight limited as well. This one here is weighted to 5,000 pounds, so you can then tow upwards of 5,000 pounds and approximately 500 pounds of tongue weight, that's the trailer hitch weight, onto the ball. You can get these ones, I brought this out just so you can see. You can buy kit ones that contain a 2-inch ball. Sometimes you'll see small fishing boats on trailers use that size. You know, utility trailers, one you use to take garbage to the dump or landscaping, you know, just lightweight stuff. You can buy these complete just as a kit, comes with a pin and everything else.
Lots of options, Bob.
Yeah, but now you got to think, is my vehicle capable of pulling 12,000 pounds? Is the hitch rated for that? So you have to look on your vehicle's hitch, because a lot of times they'll rate them, say 6,000 pounds, but they'll rate them to 10 or 12 or more if you use what's called a weight distributing hitch. And that's what this is right here, all right? So a weight distributing hitch, if you don't mind, I'll just sneak through here. A weight distributing hitch, what it's doing is, this is your vehicle up here, and here's the ball mount and everything else. Using these bars, what you're doing is taking weight from the trailer, being the V right here, you're transferring that weight to the front axle of the vehicle. So you're taking a situation where you may find your tow vehicle is down, the trailer tongue is down, and you're simply lifting that and creating an equal ride between the two.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're going to get proper braking, because now you have maybe both axles contacting properly on the asphalt. You know, it's a nice level ride, so you get a nice smooth, you know, transition in suspension. And because of all of that, you can usually increase the amount of weight capacity your vehicle's taking, because you're not sitting like this, maxing out the tire load, the hitch load, suspension load. You're transferring that weight equally between the two. All right, what this here is sway control, and it's called a friction mount sway. Now that we've taken the trailer and the truck and we've equaled that load, you may find that the trailer begins to want to kind of fishtail a little bit behind the vehicle. That'll come because maybe you're at that maximum weight limit for the suspension. Maybe you get big crosswinds, you know, or semis or buses are passing, and that wants to wiggle around. So what this does here is it's two friction plates that travel together. So when loosened off, you know, this just slides back and forth in order to mount. But what you are going to do is tighten this down all the way that you can, and you're going to control the sway of the trailer, because you're now tightening two plates together in order to minimize that. All right, so this is sort of for a traditional trailer with a ball, okay? Then you kind of get into fifth wheel hitches. That's what this here, and that's for the large trailers that have that big pin, much like a semi. This one here would be mounted in the back of the truck, and it's meant to, for maneuvering only, to slide back and forth in order to give you proper clearance from the front cap of the trailer to your back window of your truck. I've seen a lot of vehicles that have a broken back window, or they've got dents on the back window frame, and that's because when they've turned their vehicle, they've turned it so sharp that the front of the trailer hits the back window of the truck. Yeah,
wow.
It's happened here in our parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all because they didn't want to adjust the hitch, okay? This one's meant to be adjusted. All right, we kind of just looked at hitches and stuff. I just wanted to bring up a couple things about brakes and brake controls. A brake control is nothing more than a device that regulates the amount of power that's going to the magnets on your brakes, okay? And how they're doing that is that they're called inertia proportional. There's a device, electronics in there, that senses when you apply brakes that forward inertia. And based on a setting that you can either manually put in, or have one that you still manually put in, but it gives you the display number to reference, or a fully automatic, it will then regulate the amount of power then going back to your trailer. So you're not going to get that all or nothing, So it just kind of balances all of that out. And again, these here, by sending power to the magnets on the brake, this magnet here is then contacting the inner surface of the drum, and when it does that, it creates resistance, and when it creates that resistance, it's opening up the brake shoes, applying braking to the inner surface here. So at some point in time, if you ever have your brakes redone, make sure you ask your service guy at your dealership, do the brake drums need to be cleaned and maybe resurfaced by a brake company, because you want to make sure you have a nice surface for that magnet to rub against, and then you want to make sure that the brake lining itself is making nice contact to the inside of the drum, okay? Two ways of doing brakes. You can either replace just brake shoes, okay, or you do what's called a backing plate. And this is for a 10-inch drum, which is a very standard drum in the industry. It's basically 4 bolts. So you can actually then, off your axle that would come in, undo the 4 bolts, disconnect the 2 wires, pull this entire unit right off, and put brand new ones right on. And virtually, when you look at the labor versus the cost of the parts, it's almost more economical to go this route than it is to just replace the shoes. Because when you just replace the shoes, of course, you still got old springs, old magnets, old actuator, all the rest. So for the same amount of money, why not just go with a complete whole new system?
Absolutely.
We know people who do long distance travel, and we actually sell them quite often a complete
Spare one?
Spare one
Smart.
of those.
That's smart.
Spare one of these, and then that way that's something virtually you can fix on the side of the road by yourself.
Not me, but
Not you.
Some could, and that's good. If you can do it yourself, right? That's awesome.
Exactly. So I just wanted to kind of show you those things, and as we all know, season's here, everybody's camping. If you just simply check your trailer out, slow down a little bit on the road, you're going to have a great time.
Bob, lots of information here today, and certainly anybody who has questions can call you or contact you via
Always.
the website, because this is something you really don't want to miss out, and you want to do it right, and you want to make sure you're ready to go. Right?
Exactly.
So the hitch, kind of important. You want to get there in one piece, right?
Exactly. So just make sure you got the right hitch, got your brakes looked after, got the right brake control for what you're doing. You should have no problems.
All right, Bob Davies, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. More Midday in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
There was a time I used to look into my father's eyes. In a happy home, I was a king, I had a golden throne. Those days are gone, now the memories on the wall.